Hey everyone, today let's do a modified version of George Harrison's My Sweet Lord. So coming up, this can be done by beginners because I've modified it. So coming up, My Sweet Lord. Hey everyone, Paul here, PZ Guitar, virtual practice partner. And so today, we're going to do My Sweet Lord. Typically, that would be, I would consider that almost like an intermediate level chord. There's a lot of chords and there's a lot of bar chords, but I've modified the strumming a little bit, and I've also gotten rid of a couple of chords that may be very, very troublesome, but still keeping the spirit of the song. So I remembered about this song because one night, during my many insomnia nights, I came across the concert for George. I guess George Harrison had passed away, and I guess a year later they had a tribute concert, and there was a whole bunch of British rock and roll royalty there. And it was just tremendous. And I caught it during this song, My Sweet Lord, and it says, but that's a great song to teach. So here we go today. So, excuse me. So I've modified the arrangement to be a little bit more beginner friendly. So if you are a George Harrison devotee, just don't kill me too hard because I want to make this available for beginners here. So I've modified the strumming a little bit. So no up strums before chord changes, and really condensed the strumming down to its rudiments. And I also got rid of a couple of chords that may be just a little bit too advanced here. So, but stick around to the end because I have a special tip about how to spot your bar chords. I'll even explain what that means later. So today's lesson, there is a PDF for this. And so download it. It's a free thing inside the. You'll find in the video description the URL for this thing for that particular lesson plan. Add it to your PZ Guitar library. So let's go right into this, and let's talk about the strum pattern. So the strum pattern has what's called a push. So typically, in most songs, you would change chords on beat one of the next chord. But in this particular case here, it's going to be on the screen. We do, and I'll use the E minor and A as the example. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and now you change chords, and we're still in that first measure, and it's the and of 4. We change to the A chord. 1, 2, 3, and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 3 and 4. So I would, without a doubt, take that strumming pattern and practice that strumming pattern, because that's the strumming pattern throughout the entire song, and get used to that push, that accelerated chord change, at the and of 4, and then go right into the next measure. So the chords that we have, they're going to be in the PDF. The structure of the song is in 4 parts. Actually, it's 3 parts. The intro part and verse 1 is exactly the same. So technically there's just 3 parts, but the verse is going to be, you rock back and forth between E minor and A, and everything is relative to the capo 1-2. It's very important that you have capo 1-2. So it's So you do that E minor A, E minor A, you do that one more time, E minor A, E minor A, E minor A, E minor A. And then we get into the second half of the intro where you go into and now you rock back and forth between a D and a B minor, your first bar chord. You only do that one time, D, B minor, D, B minor. Now you go back to D. And now the last chord of this is a B7. You might because of the capo, you might feel a little funky because, you know, your hand or your knuckle may be resting up against the capo. It's just something you have to get used to. So actually, let me do that again. One more time. So let's do that entire intro, which happens to be verse 1. Let's do that entire intro from the top. Not very slow. So that's the intro. You do that again for verse 1. Verse 1 and the intro are exactly the same, so you just repeat that. And then we go into the transition area. The transition area is where we do like a little bit of a breakdown here a little bit, but we are getting ready for a key change. And that's one of the things about this song that makes it a little bit of an intermediate level. Besides the fact there are bar chords, the fact that there's a key change is that means that all the chords that you have learned so far get thrown out, and you have to learn new chords. So that's what key changes do. So in this case here, there are, if I go to my chord chart here, that's part of the PDF, there are 12 different chords you have to learn. Okay, so stick around for the tips and I'll tell you how to tackle that. But so now in the transition area, we rock back and forth between the E minor and A again. Now we do D for 2 measures. And now we do D7 for 2 measures. It's these dominant 7 chords that tell you that something's happening, that something's changing here. Then we go to B7 for 2 measures. E chord, before it was E minor, now it's E. And now we keep our index finger down on the G string, and we take everybody else off and put our middle finger down on the high E string first fret and play, I'm going to call it an F diminished. So let's just do that last part from the D. Okay, so that's the transition phase. Now we begin verse 2 through however many 8 or 10, until your fingers bleed, because it's a long song. So all the chords that you've learned so far, apart from the E, you got to throw out, okay? Because now we have a key change. So when we used to play E minor before. When we used to play E minor before, now we go up 1, up 2 frets, and it becomes an F sharp minor chord. And before, when we're playing an A, we're going to play a bar chord B. And now before, the second half of that verse phrase, where it used to be D, now it's an E. Now it's C sharp minor. And I'll give you a tip a little later on how to spot that up. E for the last time. And now we go to C sharp 7. So, and then you go back, to that F sharp minor, to B, and just do that round again and again and again. It's going to be a great workout for your fingers. Again, this has been modified. The strumming pattern has been modified, and some of the chords have been modified to allow for a beginner to actually handle this. So stick around. I got some tips on how I can help you master this song. So stick around. Everyone, thank you so much for sticking around and practicing with me and learning this great song. And so here are the tips. This is a long song. There's 12 different chords here. So one of my best tips here is play it slow. In the demonstration that I'm going to do at the end of this thing, at the end of the tips here, I'm going to do a full length demonstration of the song. Play it slow. Play it slow. Speed is not your friend. Control is your friend right now. Play it slow. Because it's such a long song, learn it section by section. You don't have to learn the whole thing at one time and try to remember all these different chords. Like, for example, in the intro, just learn the first section, E minor to A. Just practice that. Just practice those two measures for a long time. And then when you feel that you have those two chords down, and more importantly, the strumming pattern, then go into the D to the B minor. And so that's going to be your first challenge, but if you play it slow, you'll have enough time to form the chord. If it gets a little buzzy, work on it. There's no substitute for fretboard time. You can't plow this guitar field in your mind. You have to do it actively. It takes effort. It takes experience. It takes practice. And so, if you play it slow and you form good habits first, that will go a long way. And if you take this in parts, that you won't get as frustrated. So you learn the first phrase of the intro, then you learn the second phrase. Oh, now I got verse 1 down. Or now I'm going to go over the transition. Well, the first phrase of the transition I've already done. That's the E minor A, rocking back and forth. And then I have a D chord. Well, I've already done a D chord. Now I'm going to practice my D to D7. And then D7. And now you can practice going from D7 to B7. And now going from B7, now you practice B7 to E. And then actually one of the easiest changes that you'll find here is going from this E chord to the F diminished. Because all I have is, I'm using my two best fingers, my index and my middle finger, my two strongest fingers, and the index finger is already locked in place. So finding that first fret on the high E string is kind of easy. And then it's the same thing, only different, just shifted up a key, F sharp minor B instead of E minor and A. And you go round and round and round. So now, one of the big things here that I want to teach, that I want to give you a tip about, is called spotting your bar chord. Okay? And this is, experience dependent, but it's also dependent upon what you happen to be doing and what your next chord is. So let's take, for example, the E to C sharp minor. So the E chord, right now is open, 2, 2, 1, open, open. Fingers 2, 3, 1. So that's the E chord. The C sharp minor, I'm going to focus, I'm going to spot my ring finger that's on, I'm going to spot my ring finger, and I'm going to slide that down to where I know it happens to be onto this fret right here. I'm going to slide everybody down to that, and as soon as I get there, everyone else is going to fall into place automatically, because I know how to make a bar chord minor shape based on the A string. I know how to do that. But right now, I'm just going to slide this guy up to here, and everybody else falls into place. So in this particular case, I'm looking at this finger here to go on to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th fret relative to the capo. It's actually between this dot and this dot, which in the real world on concert pitch, this is on the 8th fret. So I'm going, I'm actually moving from the 4th fret to the 8th fret on that finger, but 2 to 6 relative to the capo. So that's what I mean by spotting your bar chord. I'm actually looking and I'm thinking about placing this finger down on the right chord, on the right fret, and everyone else will fall into place. Similarly, on the E to C sharp 7, I'm going to spot my middle finger, and it's going to be, right now it's on the 2nd fret relative to the capo, and I know it's got to go up to the 4th fret. So after I hit that upstroke, I'm going to slide everyone else, and now I'm going to automatically make my shape for the major chord 7. In this case, C sharp 7. So when I make that E chord, I'm spotting my middle finger to go up to here, and everyone else falls into place. That's what I mean by spotting a bar chord. In other songs, I'm actually looking at the bar finger. I'm actually looking at the middle finger, at the index finger, so that way I know where to place my finger, because it's a different situation. But here, since I have semi anchor fingers, to go to the C sharp minor, say that 3 times fast, the C sharp minor, I'm spotting my ring finger up to here, and on the E, I'm spotting up to here. So that is a great tip. What's called spotting. I'm calling it spotting your bar chords, and that is you have to think ahead. And so I'm looking at what's the way that I can now control the chord grip, and that is I'm going to use anchor fingers, fingers that are on common strings. And so even though I might be sliding up and down, it's not leaving the fretboard, and as soon as I land in the right spot, everyone else falls into place. As I was editing this video, I realized I neglected to mention perhaps the best tip of all, and that is after you start learning this song and playing it a little bit and getting a feel for it, go listen to George Harrison's All Things Must Pass album and get the original recording. And you'll be able to hear exactly what's going on, and it will reinforce your learning. I guarantee it. So that's the thing. Spotting your bar chord, learn this song little by little, section by section, bit by bit. So I hope that you stuck around, got those tips. I hope that you subscribe. I hope you hit a like, and most importantly, I hope you give a comment. Hopefully that you'll add this song to your ever-growing PZ Guitar Library, a book of songs, as well as the documentation itself. And I appreciate you sticking around. Keep those comments coming, keep watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.